Hey, it's me. Welcome to the super secret shore base down here in sunny Devon. So, got a bit of a surprise. Green Car is finally back from his little holiday up in Hereford at Sparrow Automotive. So I thought I'd give you guys the rundown on what we've changed for this season, what we're finishing up at the moment. So before I fall over them, so we've got a set of full Kevlar wings. So front and rear, the rears probably save, I don't know, just under a third. The front, I don't know, probably half the weight, if not a bit less than that. So pretty happy about that. They've just got a carbon tape seam up the middle as well, just to strengthen it up a little bit. We had to chop a little bit out of them to so it's going to clear the heads on the BMW motor. And you can see I've bonded on these like carbon ducts, but I still need to core that out tomorrow before we send it to paint, and finish a few edges here and there. I thought the most interesting bit to show you is probably this. So this is a foam core carbon spacer. Before I was just using just a strip of steel to space the back of the wing off of the off of the tyre, because we're running super wide wheels. But I thought I'd make up these foam core carbon spacers, so you can see that. Well, it's quite dusty at the moment, but quite nice carbon there. And then it's carbon Kevlar on the underside, and you can see I've also chopped it out here, so if I can get that to sit nice and flat and level, it's also going to act as a bit of a diffuser, which is not going to be a massive thing for this season, because I'm not going to be running a full diffuser underneath. I might get around to having a front splitter and air dam this year, but it's just the time to make it. But eventually I will be running a diffuser underneath the back of the car, so at some point that will make a difference, but probably not for now. You can see also chopped out this portion of the arch as well, because really this is acting as a giant parachute for any air trapped inside the wheel well. So if I cut this hole out, hopefully it's going to draw it out and maybe speed us up a tiny bit. If we jump over to the car, so the engine is the same as last year. So it's the that new one that I fitted after I blew the original one up, the one that was used in the film cars in Red 2. Blew that one up at Gersten Down at was that the first or second event last year after supercharging it? But we never knew how many miles that one had done originally, and it was getting absolutely thrashed. But this one's really strong. It's hardly got any miles on it at all, which you can probably see by the condition of it as well. So same motor, same electronics ECU package, so the Emerald K6 in here. Absolutely, it worked perfectly last year. Really happy with it. Same supercharger, same Rotrex, and basically the same the same setup here. So those Zerkotech ceramic coated exhausts, they're looking a bit filthy at the moment. The only thing we've changed is the oil cooler setup. So it's still running triple coolers, so our two at the side and then our central one, but the outlets have changed. Well, I've changed the outer coolers, and the outlets in those are slightly different, which is just to improve routing. So before we had two slightly smaller coolers with two outlets on the top, but that meant the piping was really tight, especially to get from the outside coolers to the central cooler here. We had to have some 90-degree bends, and the pipe work was changing diameter. But this year we're using some fittings from Torx, so we get to have much larger diameter pipe coming straight from the motor. Now, a thing to bear in mind if you're going to have coolers with outlets exiting sideways is that you're going to get airlocks if you don't think about how you're piping them. So the way we overcome that is by plumbing to the bottom first, so it's going to fill from the bottom up to the top, and then through to this middle one, and then the same on this side, bottom up to the top, and then return. And we shouldn't get any airlocks that way. The central one, no problem, that's horizontal, so absolutely fine. And that lower one down here, so that's the same as last year. This one's the oil cooler for the supercharger system, because that has its separate oil cooling system. The reservoir is just tucked away on the chassis here. So That's what most of the gold braided pipes are as well. They're just to stop it getting superheated by being next to the heads. Yep, still got those tiny spal fans on the back, although I will just show you this on this side. We are running quite close at, well, that's not even full lock there. So I'm thinking about slotting the bracket on that one and maybe nudging it forwards a touch, just so I've got a little bit of play before we hit the front wings. I'm not sure if you guys saw last year, but you might have seen the pictures perhaps on Facebook. But so I sleeved the steering arms because I was bending these at Gersten, jumping over the first bump. So yeah, just sleeved those in some steel tube. And that's what the lock nut's holding back there. And then these are the, well, we call them Belgium arms. So it's to brace, well, if I jump to the other side, that'll be easier to show. So originally, the swing arm only goes to the bottom of the hub here. So that means, well, with these super wide tyres, quite a lot of force is moving the kingpin around in here, and it yeah, starts to wear it out quite quickly. But if we work out where the pivot point is, we can make this bracket onto the top of the hub, and then with this rose joint, we can attach it back to the arm, and that stiffens the whole thing up completely. And there's absolutely no movement in the track rod ends now. Sorry, in the kingpins. So yeah, very happy about that. Not many other changes at this side. So yep, the braking system, that's all the same. We've just adjusted up the rear drums, and yep, bled the whole system ready for this year. I'm not sure if I covered this last year, but so obviously the pipe across filter here, so straight into the Rotrex. The Rotrex is pumping the air through this intercooler because obviously this acts as a, well, compressing air makes a lot of heat. So we pass it through the intercooler to cool it down again, to give it a better charge to go in, well, a better inlet charge to go into the heads through the plenum here with that giant TL blow-off valve, and then yeah, straight down into either throttle body and then into the head. Now that TL blow-off valve is teed back to this vacuum manifold, and that is running straight to the vacuum port here on the bottom of the throttle body. Now those are usually used for balancing throttle bodies, but yeah, it is a vacuum port, so that's the best way to do it, and that's the best way to do it rather than running it off of the rather than running a reference off of the inlet plenum, because yeah, you're going to get absolutely instant response at that point behind the throttle plate. Yeah, what else can I show you? So yeah, running to the back, so you remember those arch spacers, diffuser things. So yeah, that's why this tiny strip of aluminium's in here, so that the arch spacer will sit on top of that, and then, you know, the normal front arch extension that I fitted to the steel wings last year, that's going to sit in the same place. But yeah, nothing really changed at this end. I've got a new hood for this year. It's going to be the same colour, it's just a higher quality. And also we're getting rid of this heavy glass, which apart from the front screen is the only glass left in the car, so that's going to save us quite a bit of weight. Nothing's really changed at the back here. Apart from, if I can grab a torch and show you the underneath, did do some, when it was a part up at Sparrow HQ, I machined up some spacers, and then, well, perhaps you can see the fuel tank there. So before, the fuel tank probably sat down, yeah, maybe 1.5 inches below the rear chassis legs here. So I've just raised the whole thing up by 1.5 inches, so hopefully that's going to allow me to run a diffuser going straight up the chassis legs rather than kinking out underneath the tank. Now there will be a tank guard on this, and we have been running a steel tank guard on this since we started competing, but yeah, that's just off at the moment because I've got to remake that. Although I am kind of thinking we might make it in this, yeah, we stripped out a bank for a bit of a random job a while ago. So yeah, we've got all of these sheets of Kevlar, so I'm kind of thinking I should have a look in the rule book and see if I can use a sheet of Kevlar instead of steel. That appeals a bit more. Now, yeah, so, well, obviously stickers from last year, Watergate Bay Speed Hillclimb, probably my favourite event of last year. It was absolutely awesome. You should have a look at the videos of that. In the cabin, so I've had a few hours today to play with this, so I've just tidied the wiring up a little bit. Before I had quite a few loops of double-backed wiring going up to the lambda sensor and the EGT, so exhaust gas temperature and boost gauge that's up here. So yeah, just cut the wiring down a little bit and saved a bit of weight there, and yeah, just tidied it up really. It was a bit of a mess. And also, if you notice this here, so this was a red button mounted on a tacho, and that's the launch control button, which really is a two-step limiter. So if I press that, it's going to hold my revs on the start line at about 4,000, which is about optimum for launching off of the line, and that's much better than me having to kind of gauge where I'm at. It's just going to hold it, and that's what the popping and banging is you'll hear on the start line this year. I didn't really use it last year, only in practicing, but I couldn't use it really over here because I'd have to be using my gear change hand, and as soon as I launch off the line I have to change gear, and I just couldn't move my hand fast in practice, couldn't move my hand fast enough from the button to the gear shift without it bouncing off the limiter for quite a few seconds and looking a bit silly. So I've moved it to the steering wheel here, so I can, yeah, I should be able to get this nice and easy with my gloves on. So that's just a little bit of carbon that's yeah, tapped into the back of the steering wheel there, and then there's this curly coiled 2-core wire which is, yeah, going off to the ECU, and that does the two-step function. What else have we done? We've changed, finally Pete up at Sparrow HQ managed to calibrate the stat gauge with one of his fuel tanks. So I've changed from the old GS one that was in here to this nice stack one, which matches everything else there. Yeah, and this evening I'm just going to swap over the start button, which keeps on sticking, and that's not really ideal for, well, this nice little red one. So that'll do the job. What else? Well, so these harnesses, well, not valid after 2019, but I was certain that was 2018. But anyway, we've got a new set of harnesses for me, and yeah, over here. So obviously go for green. Thank you to Carter. So yeah, I'm looking forward. This is the tart in us fitting things to the car. So yeah, a new set of Speed Hunters to Carter toe straps and that new 6-point harness, which should be nice. It's also the 2-inch hands specific one. So before, the Saybelt one in the car already is a 3-inch, and it just kind of rocks up when you're wearing the hands device, and every now and again I was finding it was trying to slip off my shoulders, which obviously in a competition car is not ideal. So that 2-inch one is sculpted a little bit more to fit over the hands device, where it kind of pinches it in a bit. So yeah, so it should fit a lot nicer. So yeah, just a new one for me, and well, I don't have a passenger when I'm racing, so that'll stay the same old Saybelt one. What else have we changed? I think that's almost getting there, apart from, well, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it in this light, but obviously you'll be able to see that wire going into the bottom of the screen. We've got rid of the ducts and any of the heating system in the car now to save a bit more weight, which I can show you on the other side, but if you look closer, that's because we've got a heated screen. Now that's another thing that we've picked up from Sparrow Automotive this winter. Yeah, they've been running them with great success in road cars and race cars of theirs. That also means we've shaved off the old heater ducts down here. So we've got a little bit more room on the firewall for various bits and pieces, like the old fuel filter and the well, there's the pump down below. And I think that's probably about it. The only other thing that's changed this year has been the gearbox. So it's the same Citroen casing and the same machining work that we'd done before, but we've changed a couple of things about it, and I can show you over here. So first of all, this is the old ratio here. So it was a taller ratio for better motorway driving, essentially. But now the name of the game really is to try and cut some time down on our favourite hill climbs. So we've changed back to this is a Diane one, which is slightly taller for motorways. We've changed to the 2CV one, which is going to be better for acceleration. Now you can see you can see the teeth have been scuffed here on the end. Also, where else are we? So this is the first gear lay shaft. So you can see the teeth are being chipped here. Now that's just from me dumping the clutch at 4,000 off of the line. That's what it's going to do, and then eventually it will start to split those teeth. Can you remember at Shelsley at the Retro Rides gathering, I was having real trouble changing into second gear. Actually at the charity sheer hill climb as well, massive trouble getting it into second off of the line in front of the grandstand, which was quite embarrassing. But that's because I'd scuffed and, well, maybe you can see that on the teeth here. Scuffed and burred the teeth on this shaft as well. And really, I think that's about it. I'd quite like to say thanks to all of our sponsors. So, Liquid Moly here, so they really help us out. I'm sure you probably saw the oil at the front of the car. We're going to change that, ready for the runner-up tomorrow, and then change that, top up the Rotrex as well. And I'd also like to thank New Devon Army and New Devon Brewing, who, you should look them up. So they do all sorts of cool clothes and also quite tasty beer. I think that's it for now. So welcome back, Green Car. We'll paint your wings, and then hopefully the next time we'll do a video, everything will be back together again. Now, we'll see you guys later.